tanks have been getting quite literally pushed away.
Indeed, indeed. Now, opening compositions wise, I imagine they're going to be sticking with the dive. I mean, Mozaza is teasing us a bit with the Reinhardt sort of in the pre-game lobby section as it stands. Now, not a role I'd say he's particularly comfortable on personally, but who knows? Maybe he's been putting in the hours, putting in the scrim time. Are we going to be potentially seeing this? They're not really running it in conjunction with something that you traditionally suspect a Reinhardt to be with in this current meta. But early game, early days.
It's very interesting. If they run this is going to be a case where it does make sense that you'd be seeing Gray on the Ana, where he's going to have more healing output, really be looking to keep Mozaza alive even when the shield isn't up, and he'll also have the protection of the Reinhardt shield in front, so he's a little bit less vulnerable. It is going to put a lot of pressure here, though, on Nevix, where Nevix, if you run a 76 with a Reinhardt, it's very important that the 76 stay alive and put in max damage behind the Reinhardt shield and use that protection to its best ability.
I gotta say, yeah, okay, Mozaza now moves back over to the Winston. I'm a fan of that. Teasing us with the Reinhardt pick there. I was going to say, look at this composition. There's no way in heck this is going to be working for this section, at least for Volskaya, given how much, I guess, mobility does come into an effect here, as you do have the high ground on either side of the point.
Well, if there is an upside here for C9, is that they don't have to worry about getting slammed into a wall anytime soon. Doomfist not into play here so far. Instead, it's going to be a more traditional Sombra defense coming out here from the Misfits. C9 working their way, though, to the left, and they get through relatively unscathed. They're going to be able to heal up fully while taking this high ground.
And it needs to be very careful here. They're going to be moving in, initiating in. The bio grenade does get sent out, and it is going to be doing a decent amount of heals still. Zupe as well does manage to just relocate himself away and will be up to 56% on his EMP as it stands. But the initial pick there from Cloud9, they pick up a second one as well. Zeberside falling is absolutely massive for them.
There's no doubt about it. When you have a 6v4 advantage this early, you have control of the point. This is now Misfits' point, or Cloud9's point to lose. Yes, an EMP's coming in, but the personnel isn't necessarily there right now from Misfits to capitalize on it. And Kib, he's been running the gambit right now, moving in and about, getting crucial kills, and with Krems backing him up, this is looking like attrition might be giving C9 this point. Misfits has a long way to go.
Yes, this should be their point to win. Volskaya typically that point A, capture point at least. You know, Manatini puts in a bit of contention time. Logix now moves in as well. Ultimate's falling. Misfits are actually turning this one around. Kip putting in, trying to basically contest the point to the best of his abilities, running himself in and around, but it is going to be pushed off. Misfits get the defense.
Usain Bolt might have retired, but Logix there sprinting for victory, able to get 3 kills towards the end of that. That really was C9's fight to lose at the very end. They were getting very good cleanup, but Logix getting those 3 kills and punching Nevix right in the mouth. This is very good for Misfits and then reestablishing.
Oh, that's incredible to see. Regardless, now, still, the initiation moving in. A lot of ults on the side of Cloud9. Are they going to be using them? Zupe gets the pick onto Crusade. Not what you need if you're trying to attack into this. Promo Rage used by Swoosh. He's whacking away into the close quarters, putting in so much damage. Krems will also going to be getting demeched as well and possibly staggered out at this point. Another fantastic hold here by Misfits.
C9's getting sloppy at this point. They're rolling right in. Logix is blowing them down as they come out with the aid of Vic. And what has C9 done? They didn't recognize that that fight really was over, and now Misfits, they have a war chest available to them, and that includes an EMP. So with a minute 30 left, this could be a very quick map if C9 is not able to find a way through, which might be very difficult indeed, facing what they are in the Misfits. Now look at Zupe, setting up on the EMP.
Look at that, Logix intros with the Pulse Bomb. If you needed an entry kill, Logix is your man time and time again. And that is just going to, once again, postpone this push by Cloud9. Just waiting, sitting on all these ultimates. But it's the exact same scenario for Misfits. Zupe has the EMP available. And one thing that you need to be keeping an eye on here is Crusade needs to be extra careful with that sound barrier. Because all it takes is one EMP to completely negate all of those barriers.
If they open with the sound barrier right now, it would very likely be foolish unless Zupe was already out of the fight. But C9, they go right in, and Kib goes right out.
Sound barrier used as well. Zupe still holding on to his own EMP. Beat's going to be dropped, and the sound barrier is negated on the side of Cloud9, still falling. Losing a few players here and there. Krim still holding on to his self-destruct as well. Post-bomb and Logix again with the pick onto Mozaza. Wonderful, beautiful stuff. And can they follow it up with even more? Sleep Dart to Logix will give him a bit of a rest, and he does get brought down in the end. Still, this fight, spawner advantage coming in for Cloud9.
Well, Crusade learning a valuable lesson there. Sombra is a secret RIA agent, and she does not appreciate sharing music as Vic comes in with the cleanup. Attack visor on the side. C9, this fight has been over for a while now, guys, and yet they're streaming in. And because of this, I don't know if they're gonna get a chance for a full reset. This is very dangerous for them as only 10 seconds remain.
Not running the Zenyatta when you're going up against a Sombra, in my mind, is a big mistake. Running the Ana on attack in particular. Now, obviously you have the advantages, and it's going to be the final moments here, ZP, as they're trying to contest it. They will jump onto the point using Malzaza's Primal Rage.
Well, they do roll right in, but they get EMP'd in turn. They get the first 2 early pickoffs, though, so the EMP perhaps a little bit slow, as now C9 might be able to pull themselves back from the brink. Gray matters into his own hands, finds the double kill, and now C9 looking firm and solid on this point as Tvik falls.
Yes, the overtime ticking over, but it will not be ticking down as they do manage to capture this first point now. On to point B, Gray. Will he still stick with the Sombra? I'd like to see it, personally. He's already about 70% of the EMP, and Nevix is now on the Doomfist. This could be big for them.
And we have a switch up on the other side too. Tvik will be swapping, but not to a Doomfist, to a mere humble Robo Ninja. So we do have swap ups on both sides, and perhaps Nevix, after seeing what Tvik was doing last round, will have a little bit of good Doomfist play in himself as well, as he dives in, sends Winston away.
This is dangerous now for Misfits, ideally. I mean, Cloud9, they've got a couple of ultimates to use, including this EMP. There's a lot of team-wide potential. Really, you need to be starting to be a bit more careful here on this if you are a Misfits fan, if you are Misfits themselves, in fact. EMP now going to be used by Gray, does get it off, but brought down almost immediately after, followed up with the sound barrier.
Great force that. Gray thought he had an opportunity, but C9, they were in tatters when he went for the EMP to begin with. It was not a good EMP, and this is going to give Misfits a really good opportunity to reset, and to top it all off, they have an EMP of their own. This is dangerous now for C9.
The danger here with running Lucio as your one singular defensive support is partly because that's the only defensive support ult you've got, is the sound barrier. You're up against the Sombra, I'm mentioning it time and time again, but it is important. Zupe is going to be having almost 100% uptime with this EMP. It's going to be a very hard game for Crusade to have the impact he's looking for, but here we have it. The Dragon Blade by Tvik.
Tvik into the back, hunting down 2, and still wants more. 3 before it's all said and done. Zupe threw the EMP into it near the end, and I'm not even sure if the EMP was needed to just make that as clean as it was. It was an excellent opening by Tvik.
But EMP is one of those ultimates that you can just throw it out. You don't really have to worry about being quite, passive with it, because it does charge incredibly quickly. And it's... But looking at this ultimate now, the situation for Cloud9 is fantastic. If there was ever a fight for them to win it, it would most likely be this one with Gray almost getting the EMP of his own. It is getting built up. Kip well with the pulse bomb.
I think what happened there is I think the barrier came down. Zupe just didn't want to waste any chance there. Give C9 an opportunity back in. Use the EMP to deal with the sound barrier. But now C9, they roll back in, and it's an EMP of their own.
Yeah, Gray uses his own EMP, moving in. Nevix has the Meteor Strike. Will he be popping it off? Not quite just yet. Tries to get a one-shot as Everside will connect it. Finally, with the left click from his knuckles, Meteor Strike down. Does not find the kills he's quite looking for, and Swoosh will answer back with the Primal Rage, just beating him down.
Well, remember, we are on assault, which means you don't need to just beat the other team. You need to crush them if you want to take this last point. Logic's having none of that. The cleanup here for Misfits, looking strong as they will be removing C9 off their point. Krems, take a nice bath, buddy.
Nice little swim there in the icy depths of Volskaya.
Was that a swim? It looked like the body was still just falling.
I'm assuming so. It looks very watery. It's a bit frozen,
I don't know if the future can actually afford real water there. I think it's just imitation water. It's just a gigantic
Just a hologram. I mean, it is the future. We are in the world of Overwatch. You never know, but that was definitely not a good fight by Cloud9. They've now got no ultimates to use, whereas Misfits are holding on, and they're going aggressive with it. Tvik using the Dragon Blade, the Swiss Strike will collect one. He finds the second. Now he wants to focus on Malzaza onto the point. So the Dragon Blade will get put away, but his team is there to back him up and find the kills regardless.
Tvik collecting right now like Cloud9 owes him money. The last 2 Dragon Blades, extremely good for Misfits in this game here so far, and we're going to be down to our final 30 seconds.
This is it, do or die time once again. This is Tvik's Dragon Blade as we saw it. Gets the one from the Swift Strike, follows it up, and from this once again, if we go back to the game, we will see it is do or die. 15 seconds, that initial pick CP, that's not great.
That is absolutely not great for your C9. They don't even have an EMP up yet, and they only have 4 members, now 3. Nevix taken down, could not get away as Doomfist. Once you commit, you're basically in. And Misfits, the road to victory here, easy indeed. Sebosai even getting a few licks in there towards the end. But Misfits, they're gonna clean this up rather quickly here. We are in overtime, but the only thing that's over right now is C9 as they get wrecked. trying to get back onto the point.
What a dominant performance by Misfits so far that we've seen. Once again, a reminder, this is Cloud9's map picks. They've been the loser in the previous 2 games. They've had the choice to pick these maps, and Misfits have just been bringing them to Pound Town. Once again, literally with the Doomfist to Vic. It's been bringing them to Pound Town time and time again.
I mean, they've been going to their territory and they've been collecting their lunch money. There's no other way of putting it right now where, again, if you think back to Contenders Season 0, these teams were very evenly matched. They had their points where one team would beat the other. There was a very strong rivalry between the two. Now we are in Season 1. Roster changes have been made. And so far, the roster changes have been much more amenable to Misfits here, where you can't say enough about the impact of Logic's freeing up Tavik to really spread his wings.
Absolutely, yeah. And Tavik being able to just do work on these Genji, on the Genji role in particular with his Dragon Blades, phenomenal work. Been building up time and time again. His build rate has been quite nice. And Cloud9, it feels like they're struggling with their ultimate usage time and time again. It's the one thing I've noticed is the EMPs, Gray's not really getting full value out of them like you might expect of someone of his caliber.
I think the problem here is that Gray is looking for really good opportunities, but because of how Misfits is playing, he's never getting the ideal opportunities. So you get to the end of the fight, and he'll sort of throw the EMP into something that might already be lost because he didn't see an opportunity through the entire fight up until that point. So there's something to be said to credit Misfits and how they've been positioning here so far and how they have handled the C9 aggression.
If there's ever a time for a full hold for Misfits, or Cloud9 I should say, to claim a map, it would be now. Gray is on the Sombra. First point on Volskaya can be very difficult, but definitely not impossible. Will we see it come out? And composition-wise, again, double hit scan by Cloud9. Nevix and Kib not really putting Nevix onto the Genji for this section in particular, but it is fully in the realms of dive. And Misfits now also going to be running Ana on the offensive.
The interesting thing here will be how C9 handles this. Again, it's first point, Volskaya. You don't have a lot of room for error, so they need to be close to perfect here early on, lest attrition rear its ugly head. Meanwhile, from Misfits, you see how they're setting up Logic's going to the back line, the rest of Misfits coming up the front. Zuppe was under pressure early on, but it's not too bad here for Misfits as they roll in.
And they're fighting around that large health pack, the mega health pack that is hacked up. Massive respawn rate included on that one, and Manitou will find the initial pick that they're looking for. Mozaza falling, the main tank gone, means that it's prime time for Misfits to be claiming this first checkpoint at least. The follow-up kills. Nevix just trying to play around the high ground to a degree, and Gray falling just before, can't even get the EMP off, 85%. What is going on here, ZP? They are crumbling.
Well, that could be a blessing in disguise for Gray, if nothing else, and the idea that now he doesn't feel compelled to throw an EMP into a losing fight. He gets to save the EMP for the second point, where it will be much more effective for them now. Because with 6 members on the point, this is going to go the way of Misfits, and they are setting an electric time here so far.
Look at this though, 35.8%. That's all Misfits have to get on this point, and that's not a particularly hard ask. Alongside it, look at the ultimates they've got. Zebasai holding onto a soundbar. He's going to have to be careful of Gray with his own EMP, as again, they do negate each other out, but here we go. Gray leads in early with it. Zebasai still just trying to dodge it around. Dragon Blade used as well, ZP.
Dragon Blade being used by Tavik here, but it might be too little too late. Gray's EMP struck true, and Tavik has to take a bath, or perhaps a fall, it's really not clear, off the side of Volskaya. A good recovery here from C9.
Look at this aggression by Cloud9 as well. They're just playing very far forward. Kip just trying to get that initial D-mech onto Brems. But they will finally just basically working now off the ultimates they've got. Crusade has the soundbar, once again a defensive ult to work with. The aggression, look at this. How are they? They're just actually spawn camping them. There's no other way to put it.
This is highly aggressive, but highly risky as well, because if you dive in that deeply, as C9 just did, to their success, but lose one person early on, you could be setting yourself up for a deadly snowball. But to the bold go the spoils, and C9 looking to try and put this map in their favor.
Yeah, it's a risk they need to take though with this forward aggressive maneuver. Nevix on the Doomfist again, and off the back of those initial defenses, the aggressive forward holds, they have built up a serious ult economy, and they do have a lot to work with as well. Now Zebasai, watching him for a bit. Speed boost gonna try and initiate in. Mozaza is weak. The primal rage will be used. Punch bomb by Kib finds 2, and this is gonna be what they need to try and make their way into this map here. ZP.
The Pulse Bomb opens the way there for C9 and throws Misfits back. And the scary thing there for Misfits, of course, is that you know that Gray has the EMP at this point. It is no longer in question. It's been 2 fights. He has it, and he was not pressured to use it. So Misfits now stuck, trying to figure out how to crack the Volskaya puzzle.
You have a lot of time to work with, though. Let's not put anything past them. 5 minutes almost on the clock to only get 35.8%. It's still firmly in the favor of Misfits, but huge ult advantage right now for Cloud9, but it's all going to be on Misfits now to rotate the ults into their favor. And here we go, EMP is going to be used, Pulse Bomb sent out by Logic, not finding what he was looking for. Definitely the kill's going to be traded quite evenly.
Misfits was able to use that room for cover there early on, and this is more even than C9 might like. Here comes the Vic. The blade is out, slicing through the Diva mech, not able to team mech in here just yet, but does find Crusade to Vic. Opening the way now from Misfits. Will it be enough? It's not entirely clear as C9 respawns are coming in. They're getting a few kills they need, and it's very difficult for the attacking team to keep up momentum. But if they get one kill more, maybe they can do it.
They need to focus their targets here right now, ZP, because any seconds they're wasting, the respawns are coming in for the defending side. Cloud9 are getting the players up. They're beating them down. All they need is a few more percentage onto the point. Logic using the pulse bomb, tries to bring him down. Nevix will be falling here. Indeed, he gets beat down by Logic once again. EMP used.
Logic stealing the cloak of invisibility for that. No one was on him. He was getting all sorts of cleanup. C9, though, not going down here without a fight. They are rolling back in. They've given up about half of a tick here so far. Misfits not backing off. But you look at C9, they are getting numbers back on the point. But Kivisuk, he's taken down. And to Vic, keeping the pressure on. There's a barrier, and here's a nano boost to Vic. Diving in, and the blade is out once more.
This is it with the Dragon Blade as well, with the nano boost. He gets hacked up, though. Beautiful by Gray, but gets brought down regardless. And there you have it. Misfits going to be winning the map once again, making it 3-0. Goodness gracious me, ZP, they have been dominating.
And what really set that up was where they took cover into the side room there. Gray did not get quite as good of an EMP as he would have liked, and the net result of that is that Misfits, though they were bloodied, they were able to stay alive just long enough for Logics to get to work.
Absolutely. Here's the play of the game. Mozaza, of all people, going to be picking this one up. Anything to do with the Primal Rage, he does have it. This is a lot of beatdown. I remember this moment. Here we go. Quite good indeed. But, I mean, goodness me. Were you expecting such a dominant performance from Misfits coming into this?
Not as dominant as we've seen, especially given the history between these two teams. Because there were question marks, right? Where Misfits does not have quite the same coaching roster as some other teams do. Yeah. They've been in flux. And they did just change rosters. Yet, what we're seeing here from them is that they have been able to adapt around this new roster. They have been able to incorporate elements of the new meta like Doomfist very successfully. And Tavik is feeling very much at home coming back to his Genji.
Absolutely. The guy's had an absolute mad one, honestly, throughout these games. The Dragon Blades have been built up time and time again. It's been really impressive to see all around. But, I mean, both these teams have had roster mix-ups, you know. Munchkin's recently left Laserkins, known as Cloud9 now, and they've replaced him in with Nevix. Nevix is a standout player on his own, but is he really at the caliber of Munchkins?
I mean, I'm mixed feelings on where Munchkin was because he had very subpar games with his previous turn Laserkins, punctuated with very good games. So I'm not going to say that Nevix is necessarily a downgrade from where Munchkin was at. However, the Tracer play coming out from C9 so far has not necessarily been quite as good as you would expect. Certainly not really holding a candle to what we've been seeing from Logic so far, who has been phenomenal with great pulse bombs across the board.
It's hard to contest with Logic's. He is a fantastic Tracer player in his own right. His pulse bombs time and time again. I mean, you guys saw it. I don't need to repeat it, but he was getting multiple, you know, two-man, three-man pulse bombs time and time again throughout the games, putting in the work, and it was very impressive to see. Really, I think the main downfall for Cloud9 is their ult usage. I think that's really where they're falling down time and time again. With the EMPs, for example, Gray is really not getting maximum value when he's on the Sombra. Composition-wise, I mean, you can't really fault it. It's pretty standard stuff, to be honest, all around. But Misfits have really cracked it, and they're really utilizing Doomfist to his fullest.
Doomfist has been working out very well for Misfits here whenever they've brought it into the fold. And now we head to the one and only Dorado. It's scenic, it's rustic, it's owned by a corrupt power company. What more do you need in your life?
Absolutely. Now, what will we see from these two teams? Now, they're going to need something, because at the end of the day, remember, we're playing these 4-map sets. That's the way the Contenders is going to be working. So they're playing for the wins and the losses at the end of the day. We've got 6 weeks of gameplays kicking up here for the Contenders Season 1. So even if they do end up losing all 4 maps, they're definitely not down and out for the side of Cloud9. Definitely plenty of opportunities to potentially make it into the playoffs bracket. But Misfits, from what they've shown us so far, it has been absolutely wonderful.
Misfits has been great so far, and as you mentioned here, this is, of course, day number 1. Storylines are not built in one day. They're built over the course of a season, but it is a little bit sweeter when that storyline for you could be being up 4-0 to open up your inaugural Overwatch Contenders Season 1 matchup.
Well, it is going to be relatively traditional compositions. Misfits actually not going to be running a Lucio here for this initial defense. Instead, opting to put Zupe on the Zenyatta and Zebasai on the Ana himself. So running a, I guess, superior heals when you're running the Ana as opposed to Lucio, but sacrificing that for the speed boost might be running into a few issues.
Really, this means that Misfits is going to be standing and fighting more often than not. Their ability to disengage with a speed boost not going to be as good. They're also not going to have quite as crazy of engagements here. I think Misfits right now, though, they just want to hold their ground and let C9 bring the fight to them.
I mean, when you're so many maps ahead as well, in terms of it, the final map, you can experiment a little bit. You can just let loose. You can run sort of things that are a bit unconventional, such as not running the Lucio. We'll see now if they can really hold it off from them. As it stands, Cloud9 happily just going to be pushing it up, but the car is getting contested by Manaton. Down very low, going to be trying to get that initial D-Mech. They're so close to getting it. The heals, again, that's the power of Ana. Superior heals time and time again.
Not just Ana, but also the Zenyatta orb that was on at the same time. It made the D.Va much harder to kill early on, and it really messed with C9's appraisal of how much damage they need to do. But here comes the nano-boosted Winston. Swoosh, moving right in, treating that D.Va mech to an extra dose of electricity. To Vic into the back, being the heart of damage here for Misfits. And the interesting thing, though, the payload is moving under the archway.
Yeah, Misfits, they got to get their heads into the gear, I believe. They've got to be trying to rotate around here. Transcendence used by Gray to try and prolong this fight very early on. Fire Grenade will get displayed, though, and it's so much damage being put in from them that, again, Cloud9 have to reset. They have to go back to the spawns, back to the drawing board, and rethink how they're going to be approaching this, because Misfits are just dominating them.
Well, you hear that right there, Nevik saying, my blade is ready to be unleashed, and that might be the ticket here. However, there is an obstacle in his way. Zupe, of course, holding on to that Transcendence, so Nevik has to be somewhat more patient here. If he just throws the blade in, he'll be met by the Transcendence, and they will cancel out. But multiple avenues here for C9, but Misfits, very good positioning that's somewhat making it difficult for C9 to approach. And here comes Nevik.
Lovely. Dragon Blade not quite going to be using it, very patient with it, because he knows his team is there to put in the damage, to put in the work. Doesn't actually have to use it, waiting for those ults to fade. Now he might opt to just go in and pop it off, or he's just going to be trying to shuriken them down at the end. Doesn't really matter as long as you get the kills for your team. The cart should be starting to get moving now. Logix will be the final man down. How are they going to be able to keep this going?
And the key there for Nevik is that he saw that C9 was winning that fight before the Dragon Blade needed to be invested. He was waiting out the Transcendence, but by the time the Transcendence was over, so were the Misfits. They have been thrown out of first point here. They do have an opportunity to come in and delay, but they don't have a lot of tools to do it. It might just be a nano-boosted Winston Swoosh making some space.
Here, Pulse Bomb gets sent out. Now the Dragon Blade as well. Nevik, one slice will bring down one. Tries to go for it, but the Fire Grenade will force him back. Can't quite receive those heals, and the counteract is there. Misfits putting the Nano Boost onto the Winston, just slamming it home, and they will get the defense for the time being.
This is actually insane that they were able to bring this fight back. C9 had momentum. They had a great edge in Nevik with the Dragon Blade, but he was not able to connect into the backline. And even without Transcendence, Misfits plays around it. And of course, a big part of this is Logix here. Into the backline, gets the stick, and really keeps Misfits in this first point defense.
Wonderful, wonderful Tracer player. As we keep mentioning throughout this game, throughout this series, Ultimate's on board for the side of Misfits. They can defend this one. Cloud9 going to be looking to build up a few of their own. As it stands, great Fire Grenade. It's going to force them off. And Fire Grenade is one of those abilities that isn't talked about as much these days, but it is very, very good at delaying and it pushes into the enemy teams. If you get off a solid one, it can really just stagger things out for seconds.
Well, of course, because in addition to doing damage, it just means you're not getting healed for a while, and it's a key edge for the team that actually wins the day. Meanwhile, here for C9, you see them moving back up. Swoosh digs a little bit too deeply here, but look at Logix. He's creeping right now. This is what you love to see of a Tracer. He's looking for the first person to go over, and it's going to be a special delivery. Logix from the back gets Gray. No pulse bomb required.
Doesn't even need it. The patience was definitely there from him, getting that initial pick onto Gray, and that's no Transcendence. He gets the pulse bomb onto Mozaza regardless. Just delivery straight into the Nevik's now popping his own Dragon Blade off, seeing if he can search for the opportunities.
That was not delivered from Logix, that was an assembly. He made a Winston firework right before our eyes. Now Misfits, the nano boost on the Swoosh, controlling space on the payload. C9 though, working in and around. Now they have to play around the tac visor to Vic, looking for targets early on, everything in his sights, and Krems is going to fall. Misfits on the verge of a first point hold.
Cloud9 losing so many players here in this final section here. Are they really going to get full hop before they can even get a checkpoint? I mean, really, you got to hope not. You want to be putting in a bit of more fight. The overtime ticking down for them. Nevix is trying to bring down Manson into the Baby Diva at this point, looking like it could potentially go their way, but it's still being contested by something. Someone, somewhere is just not letting this cart move forward.
C9 was able to fight it back as Nevix
What is that?
Oh my word! It's a triple kill. Logix out of nowhere, keeping the hope alive for this first point defense. One good hero deserves another, but with Zebosai falling, this is still very close.
Self-destruct gets sent out, trying to stagger this one out. Dragon Blade as well by Nevix. He wants to try and bring them down. Will claim Swoosh. The triple kill from Logix really doing enough to stagger them out, but is it going to be enough in the end? He does get the D-Mech as well. The Reflex as well, trying to put in the damage. Defense Matrix eating up a ton of it on their own. Still, 0.74 meters remaining. Are they going to be able to get this? It's looking so ZP, but I mean, anything could happen in this game.
Okay, Logix is dead. Yes, they can get through it finally. The beast is gone. I mean, he didn't have a pulse bomb up yet, but I don't really want to underestimate Logix at any point, given what we've been seeing.
Guy is crazy. I'm curious, is this going to be the pulse moment we're seeing? Sets it up, and that is special delivery indeed, right into the back of Mozaza and just sets it up for his team. Wonderful, wonderful stuff.
He's just trying out Mozaza for his next 4th of July party, where he will actually be sending him into the air. But here comes C9. Momentum on their side. They dive right in. They find Tavik immediately. Nevix diving straight into the room. No chill whatsoever as C9 moves it in and looks to get momentum, but Swoosh and Manitin able to bring it back a little bit. Some stability as C9 might have to be content with all they've gotten here so far.
And trading out evenly, as you'd expect. It looked like Cloud9 were going to be getting a much superior fight in the midst of it, but not quite in the end. Trading again, Logix still alive, causing so much havoc into the back lines as he brings down Krems just to follow it up. Kib now has the pulse bomb. Will he choose to unleash it to try and propel his team forward? Not quite, just playing it quite patiently, and Misfits have finally got their 6 members up, and they are ready and waiting in this fight with the defense.
Misfits right now with fully stabilized Kib. Gonna allow the pulse bomb in to no effect. Does not get onto the Winston. And what we see from C9 is that C9 doesn't really go for full resets, they go for consistent pressure. It's worked against them in large part, but now they are getting some progress here onto second. Tavik, attack visor in the back, will be aided by his barrier. Meanwhile, Nevix with the blade, and here come the Misfits.
Absolutely, now also it's going to be used. Nevix looks to do some magic with the Dragon Blade, slices down, will bring down Zubay, does not find Tavik with the tactical visor, will end up saving himself. In fact, with the help of Logix, they bring down Mozaza as well, trading it out, just what they needed here for this defense.
C9 right now still not done yet. Transcendence moving in, but perhaps they should have been done here early on because Transcendence has to back out just as soon. Tavik, not going to get away this time though. Kib finding him early on, and this is a slobber knocker of a fight. It is back and forth, and now C9 taking the reins and pushing Misfits back. This has really been about as back and forth as we get.
23 seconds remaining here, ZP. Try and push it as much as they possibly can. It's most likely going to be going into the overtime. Important to note that support ult, the Transcendence, almost available for Misfits, whereas Cloud9 are quite far between their own Samurai and Transcendence of their own. So we'll see if they can try and defend this. Trying to go for the forward hold into the balcony, but is it going to be working out? Here it is, do or die.
Misfits striking first here. Krem's getting focused down again. He has been their priority #1. And now with the 6v5, Misfits controlling space and Logix. So much room to work with in the back. And he's unchained right now, gets not 1, but 2 supports.
Not even flashy, it's just precise plays. You know, Kib's going to be falling as well. Overtime ticking down. They don't actually manage to get the second checkpoint again. A reminder, Cloud9's map pick. Misfits currently 3-0 in this set between the 4 maps. And they don't have far to push it at all, to be honest. From what we've seen, it's going to take a miracle for Cloud9 to try and defend this one.
Well, and let's not forget, too, that Misfits came very close to having the first point hold there.
Yes.
And no small part due to the heroics of Logix, who just randomly decides, I'm actually going to kill 3 people this team fight. I'm just going to turn your Winston into a bomb that'll take down everyone else. That is his superpower.
Well, that's because Pulse Bomb is an ult that you can just throw out like that. It does build up incredibly quickly. Like the EMP, you can't afford to take those risks with it. And sometimes they can pay off massively, as we almost saw there with Logix, again picking up another triple kill with the Pulse Bomb.
And the other thing we see here, too, that might be easy to underrate is that Logix and Swoosh both come from the now defunct Movistar Riders team, but you do see a bit of synergy between when Swoosh goes in and when Logix is coming in from the back line. They're very comfortable with their styles of diving in, and I think it's definitely helping them here and making perhaps Logix have less of an adaptation period to playing with the new team.
One thing's for sure, Misfits are definitely looking very scary. Now, comp-wise, will Tvik actually come out with the Hanzo? Probably not. It's probably just to check if there's anybody hiding around the corner with the Sonic Arrow. It's something if you're new to professional Overwatch, you're curious. I think that pro players do. They switch to the Hanzo initially early on and use the Sonic Arrow, one of his abilities, to just see through the walls and display where they are, just in case the enemy is hiding. I
mean, Bren, that's all good and logical, but Tvik might actually be moonlighting as a geometry teacher, where he actually does feel like geometry is simple, but only you apply yourself.
We could be seeing it. We could be seeing it. But right now, timers will tick down. And a similar composition that Misfits ran on the first point. Again, Ana on this initial defense, very powerful because of the high ground advantage you have, the fire grenade as well. But will they be able to get a similar performance as Misfits? Will they be able to claim at least one map? Here we will find out.
C9 is going to need an enormous defense here. Their best chance is a full hold here in the courtyard, but frankly, you don't see that very often here. Both teams right now trading off blows in the very beginning, but Misfits now starting to be aggressive on their approach. You see Swoosh try and go in, and Logix and Tvik working their way in as well.
Absolutely, still trading out quite equally. The point will be contested. Mozaza does get the entry there onto Zupe, and that will actually help him out quite a significant amount. Gray, important to note, almost got that nano boost of his own. Mozaza will fall, which means they don't really have a viable target for his EP.
And this is slow and steady right now for Misfits. C9, they overextend just a little bit, immediately punish as Tvik gets to work here in the back, deflect, backs out. Meanwhile, Logix, that pulse bomb is built. He's creeping. He's the terror. He's a danger. That pulse bomb comes in from the back, and the self-destruct over the top. The self-destruct is truly the bomb to look out.
It was like, Logix, step aside, mate. Let me show you how it's done. Just sends it flying straight up. Beautiful little glide. We'll pick up the 2 kills for them. Misfits now going to be slamming this one home, or trying to. Kid gets booped off. Discord Orb on him. Almost fell there. That was very tricky. But the ults are now being used, CP.
Nano boost here on the Mozaza. Similar defense coming out from C9 to what we saw from the last gas from Misfits. Tvik, though, using the barrier to his advantage. Dives in on the Nevix with Logix, and here comes the Blade. Looking for any targets. Ana in his sights. One slice and more, but the sound barrier makes him use most of his Blade to get the kill. And yet, still very effective for Misfits as they get what they need, and they open that door right up.
Yeah, when you're putting so much attention into the final moments there, you saw Gray couldn't do anything but back off against when the Dragon Blade was against him, when Tvik was moving him, which meant no heals coming in for the side of Cloud9 when they were trying to defend that. A significant lack of heals, in fact, as they really only had the Crusade on the Lucio to try and provide them. So ultimately winning that one fight out. And ZP, look at his time. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. And they've only got to cap it just before the second checkpoint.
C9 has to come out in incredible fashion here. And now they're coming in on the flank. High risk, potentially high reward. Misfits, though, unfazed. They just turn around and go, oh, so this is happening now. Zupe holds on the Transcendence and now uses it. And this is looking very good as an opening here for Misfits. But that self-destruct, perhaps not as good.
We'll collect the kill onto Zevasai at least. Find that entry. Pulse bomb again. Logix will connect one this time. I think Mozaza's starting to get into the swing of things. He realizes as soon as I get stuck, I just need to get the heck away from my team. And ultimately, Misfits will get brought back to their spawn to reset, but they have plenty of time to work with.
Misfits are not under the gun. They don't have to feel pressure. Multiple different ways of attacking this final point in terms of building up ultimates and looking for opportunity. And Maniton, now he could be the hero. The self-destruct is primed, and there it goes, Bren.
And it's sending it straight out. Will it find a kill? Not quite. Misfits are going to be the ones entering it out as Tvik gets it with his switch strike. Sleep Dart will not connect from Gray, and they are just finding the kills regardless. Not really needing to use many ults, if any, at all. Friends, again getting demeched. Interesting turn of events because Cloud9 now have nothing to defend this with, and it's coming up, CP.
The yellow box of victory is on the way, but that self-destruct was so good, it forced C9 to engage before they wanted to, and Misfits immediately
Can they even
punished.
contest this?
They can. They can get back here onto the point. Now you see C9, last moment desperation, but Tvik, he has the blade, and now he's moving in.
He moves in, he's searching for the target. Nevix will be brought down in the end. Now he's following it up, still looking for the opportunities. Great, so weak, will finally get brought down against Sound Barrier just to concatenate on top of Cloud9's defense, but they're only 3 men against the world's EP. They need this map when they need a bit of confidence, but it's not looking likely as Misfits are just slamming it home for them, and that will be that. Map number 4 in another rapid fashion. Misfits. What a team, honestly, what a team.
Really nice stuff coming out from Misfits across the board from all members, but if Tvik was more of the hero of the first half of the match, Logix to me was the hero of the second half, where Logix, incredible play after incredible play, the reputation this man has built up on Tracer is not unwarranted. And
is.
hey, just to add on, the game agrees as well.
Absolutely, why wouldn't it? I'd be having a bit of disagreements with Big Daddy Jeff if it was. Get working on that play of the game system, lad, but this is it. Look at this, pulse bomb.
Bren, I agree with you, but I just want you to know that if you wrestle with Jeff,